Hi and welcome to Blue Pigment Podcast. This podcast is to help highlight the individuals that express themselves through creativity. I'm talking about audio forms of art such as poetry, music, singing, comedy, or even storytelling. The podcast usually follows a format where I introduce you to an artist and their creative way of expressing themselves. We then move on to a few adverts which you may want to pay attention to because there could be a discount code in it for you. From there, the majority of the podcast is a discussion with a guest on a form of art and the way in which they express themselves through that creativity. I hope you enjoy the podcast. If you do, please like, share and subscribe. I started this podcast due to the death of a friend. Wear your f***ing heart on your sleeve was the message I wished to send. This year's veteran suicide numbers are up again. Get on the internet, phone, or pick up a pen. Stop thinking you'll be judged for expressing your emotion. You've given your all for this country, now show yourself some devotion. You ventured into environments where the odds were stacked for you to lose. Yet you've come out the other side without a physical bruise. But the bruises are actually within your mind. So you may feel this fight is in your head and confined. Yet this fight doesn't have to be unfair, as there is a community of warriors who are ready to be there. By your side once more, as they have been before. Let's do this together, the final tour. Blue Pigment Podcast is sponsored by Huscarl. Go to huscarl.co.uk and use the discount code BLUEPIGMENT for 15% off. Get yourself some t-shirts, stickers, baseball caps, hoodies, printouts and many more products from Huscarl. Blue Pigment Podcast, sponsored by Huscarl. So listeners, welcome back. Blue Pigment Podcast has returned. During the summer, I have moved up to Scotland, but I have also watched the latest Top Gun Maverick. So now I'm rocking the mustache, and I'm wearing Hawaiian shirts all year round. Don't care if it's winter. Blue Pigment Podcast is back, and it's going to be better than ever. This season, I hope to bring you new talent from across the Forces community. I hope to probably get on the road a bit more and interview people in person. I'm very grateful to have my sponsors on board, such as Huscarl, and introducing a new sponsor, Airborne Fit. Pretty sure that this is probably going to come up as some sort of copyright that I've used this music, but I don't care. I'm going for it anyway. I probably have just admitted to that, which has probably just made it worse, but I'm just going to carry on with this tune because I have recently watched Top Gun Maverick. Right, I can stop shouting now. Sorry about that. So some of the podcasts I've been listening to recently have had background music, and it's inspired me to put some background music to my podcast because I think it really works well listening to something in the background. So I'm just going to add... Wait there, I'm just going to add something... Oh, no, not that again. Something like this, yeah. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Right, so we'll just stick to this for this episode. So welcome back to Blue Pigment Podcast. I've been out of the studio for quite some time now, and I'm truly trying to get back into the swing of the podcast and get back into my comfort zone. During long periods of time away from any topic, I kind of get a bit of skill fade and trying to warm myself gradually back up into it. So this episode is going to be an audio only. I haven't quite managed to sort out my studio just yet. Hopefully the next coming episodes will be visual, and you can go back onto YouTube and see me gobbing off, as it were. But this episode, it's just me, no guest. Again, just part of that transition from me taking some time out and getting back into the podcast. I just want to take it nice and slow, nice and steady, as everyone should do what is best for them at that time to increase their emotional and connectivity, or the way you're feeling about a particular task or product that you need to buy into. And the way I do it is to take nice gradual steps. I'm getting back into the podcast, and first of all I'm going to do it just audio, and then I'm probably going to go to video and a guest on the next episode. But this episode, I obviously talk a lot about mental health. I talk a lot about creativity. I'm obviously Forces member, and therefore leadership comes into mind when it comes to mental health and creativity. So what is my point? What am I trying to get at? What I'm trying to achieve here is to maximize the functionality of mental health. We always look at people that take physical fitness and physical health as a priority, and these people are looked at in really good self-esteem and really good light. And I'm just curious as to why people that take care of their mental health aren't looked at in the same manner. So what I mean by that is self-care, people that take care of themselves mentally as well as physically, because taking care of yourself physically also attributes and contributes to your mental health. So what I mean by the functionality fitness of your mental health, so being mentally fit and the functionalities of that, is important as you as an individual can highlight and identify the times when you're not at your best. Because when you're not at the best, you're not being the best for those people around you, whether they're colleagues, family members or friends. After doing a bit of studying last night, I got a couple of websites, a couple of bits of information. I merged them together to create a little spiel for you on how to look after your mental health and be the best version of yourself, not only for yourself but for those around you, and not only for those physical people but for your tasks, goals or outputs that you want to achieve. So I've come up with a little spiel on what mental health is, an abbreviated version of what mental health is, and what we can do to best accomplish good mental health within ourselves. Mental health includes our emotions, our physiological and social well-being. These are all part of mental health. Mental health alters the way that we think, feel and behave. Additionally, it influences our stress management, interpersonal relations and decision making. From childhood, adolescence all the way through to adulthood, mental health is essential. You only have one brain, and all the information that you've gathered throughout your life is stored in your brain. And being able to manage what gives you stress and anxiety, depression, is a crucial thing to making sure that you can be the most efficient person that you can be. Positive mental health allows people to realize their full potential, cope with stresses of life, work productively, and make meaningful contributions to their community. Now, this is no secret, and this information can be found anywhere. But ways that you can maintain a positive mental health include taking control of your fitness, taking control of your nutrition, making sure you sleep well, you socialize in a good social community, you stay positive, and talk to others and get help from others when it's needed. In the past, we only used to worry about physical health and safety. Now, thankfully, we're moving forwards to a time where people can start to understand that good mental health is also important. Every workplace on the planet involves people, and when you put people together in one place, the mix of personalities, money, priorities and pressures can start to have a detrimental effect on your mental health and cause great tension within you. Due to the current climate, remote working is now more convenient than ever. But this brings its own additional challenges as home and work life start to merge into one. As work starts to be completed at home, people tend to work longer hours and respond to work requests after they would normally have left for the day. As this pressure mounts, people are asked to do more with less. Now, how do leaders influence mental health in the workplace? Good mental health is important for everyone. However, leaders play an important role in safeguarding the mental health of the people in their workplace. Leaders control the flow of work and set the goals and expectations that others need to live up to. Unrealistic expectations, excessive workloads, and tight deadlines increase stress and force people to work longer, often for no reward or no additional reward. In other words, leaders can set the tone for good mental health in the workplace. Now, it's okay to work in high-stress environments, and sometimes stress actually encourages you to maximize your potential, but there's a point where it becomes too much. And working in an environment where stress is the norm is a bad environment to work in for your health. Now, let's take a stressed leader, for example, and why leaders need to safeguard their own mental health. It's one thing for leaders to protect the mental health of others, but what about their own mental health? Without good mental health, leaders can start to have a negative impact on the people around them. Leaders need good mental health to show empathy. When they're stuck in the mud, stress and fear, it's hard to feel empathy for others. But empathy is the edge that makes thoughtful leaders great. When you genuinely care about your team, you are able to understand others' perspectives, build rapport, trust, and credibility. When you are struggling at work, you'll be preoccupied trying to fix your own problems than focus on others. Then, you run the risk of being an absent, unavailable leader. Being a perceptive leader is one of the most important qualities of being a leader. Perceptive leaders notice body language, attitudes, and can respond to situations and adapt their approach. Leaders need good mental health to keep showing up. When you're struggling with stress, anxiety, or depression, there is a good chance that you might need to take some time to feel better. Taking this time will make you a more efficient leader. And it is crucial that leaders stay healthy, not just for the team, but for their own well-being. Now, I'm a big believer in creating space. You need to create space if you want to grow, and if you want others to grow. We sometimes get too fixated on trying to achieve as much as possible within the time frame that we have. But sometimes this actually has a detrimental effect on the output that we want to achieve. So what do I mean by leaders create space? I mean giving yourself and your workforce the space to think, the space to connect, the space to do, the space to be creative. The space to think, that gives us the time to be intellectual and think of new ways to tackle a challenge. The space to connect allows us to have a social network and bond with others in our workforce or at home. The space to do and be creative is allowing somebody to have their own input into a task or project, which then gives them the buy-in that they have helped this task or project evolve. Leaders that create space for themselves and others genuinely have a greater mindset when it comes to a work-life relationship. Ultimately, having that space allows you to be the best version of you. Having that space allows you to be functioning in physical form and functioning in mental form. If you don't have the space to grow as a person, then what is the point in the whole thing? What's the point in going to work if you can't grow, if it's not attributing to you as a person and as a character? The space to grow also kind of encompasses the purpose of the podcast here, and that is to get creative. Get creative with your time. Come up with new ways and new things you can do within the space and the time that you have to do them. If you're solely concentrating on work and everything is work based, what kind of life are you living? Leaders create space. not only does it make that person or that individual within your workforce a better version of themselves, they bring that version of themselves to work and have a better output, not only in life, but in their career. Give them the space to grow. That's my final word on that point. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this episode. It's been a bit of a short, sweet one. Just me talking today. I hope you've enjoyed it. Next episode, I'm hoping to get a guest on board. He is a bit of a guru when it comes to mental health. He does a lot of things that puts himself in a good position mentally. Stay tuned, stay listening, and you'll hear all about my next guest on the next episode. Thanks for listening, and I hope you've enjoyed it. I've already said that, but I'll say it again. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll speak to you and see you soon. Hello everyone, you're listening to Blue Pigment Podcast. If you want to become a patron of this show, please go to patreon.com/bluepigment. You will be helping me help the talent that I find along the way. Not only that, the podcast is an advocate for mental health and the positive message in which we want to send about mental health. So if you are a bit about that and you want to jump on board, then please become a patron at patreon.com/bluepigment. Would love to have you on board. And not only that, you'll get the chance to get some free stuff. I'll be giving another big giveaway soon. To find out what it is, go to patreon.com/bluepigment, become a patron, and get yourself some free stuff. The opinions or views expressed on this podcast are solely of my own or the guests, and do not represent the opinions or views of anybody else or the Ministry of Defence.
Shish kebab, Shawshank Redemption, Chicago! Yeah!